Wake up on Friday morning in the upper 30s, Saturday morning too, and high temperatures getting cooler, only around 70 for our Friday with upper 60s over the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion is the king of price when it comes to buying a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle, but how about king of price when it comes to the service department? Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville has you covered on tires, brakes, batteries, wipers, you name it. Any service you need on your vehicle, regardless of the make or model, come see Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville Service Department or Randy Marion Ford Lincoln Service Department today.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello and welcome to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You made it. It's the 4 o'clock hour on a Thursday. If you're a 9 to 5er, you got 53 minutes, 24 seconds until you hit that 5 o'clock bell. And I appreciate so much you spending that time with us here as we're giving attention to all things economic, financial. We're going to touch on a wide array of subjects. You know that as a previous listener here to Dollars and Cents. We're going to be talking on companies. We're going to be talking on strategies, probably even some specific investments as we're getting through today's show. But in doing so, you recall that nothing that we're talking about here is intended as a specific recommendation for you. Meaning that even though we're going to be talking about these kinds of things, and like I said, some of them are going to be a positive light, some are going to be in a negative light. You may think, well, maybe that means, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. We don't intend for anything that we're talking about here to be a specific look into your space. We obviously don't know it. Everybody's situation is unique. We strongly, strongly recommend that you reach out to your tax advisor, to your financial advisor, or if you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, love to hear from you. Love to chat with you about your particular financial journey, see if there are ways in which we might be able to be helpful to you. Online, you can find us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, Main like the street, financial.com. Northmainfinancial.com. We have a contact page on there. Leave us an email address or a phone number. Let us know the most preferred and desirable ways for us to contact you, again, at northmainfinancial.com. You're also welcome to call us here in the studio. I can't promise that if you call in and you got a particular question, I'm going to be able to get to it today. I promise I'll get to it next week, though, because we've got a full show today. And if you give me a little bit of runway and you leave your question, promise you I'll get to it. I will highlight that as part of our discussion points. We want to make sure that everything that we're talking about here is relevant for you. And certainly if you want to share that with us, can't give you specific recommendations. And I am not the hot stock tip guy. I'm just not. As a matter of fact, if I start giving you hot stock tips, I'm going to tell you to stop listening to Dollars and Cents. That means things aren't going well if I'm doing that. But absolutely, if you have a question, especially broad-based in theory or something about a particular financial concept that's out there, maybe you've bumped into it, friend, family member as well, happy to speak into that. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464 here in the studio. Again, 844-788-3464. Producer CJ is on the horn today. He will make sure to take down your question, get it over to me. And like I said, if I can't get into it today, I promise I'll get to it next week. So feel free to do that. Now I got to start with a little bit of local news here, and I am sure they talked about this on Good Morning LKN. Didn't get a chance to hear it, but I'm certain that they did. By the way, if you're not listening to them, Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. You got Mamie, you got Justin, you got the boss Bill on the boards there that we're talking about all things that are happening in the Lake Norman region, and they're even going to make you chuckle a little bit too. Again, 7 to 9 in the morning. They're Monday to Friday. Don't tell me you don't have the radio signal either. We got the app. WSIC app. Go on the Apple Store, the Google Store. You go ahead and download that thing. Doesn't matter where you are. If you have a cell phone signal, best part about that app, I know I say it all the time, it's true. Best part about that app, when you crank that thing open, there's a big button right in the middle of the screen. You press that, boom, you're on the live feed. So you can listen to them anytime. No matter where that you are, 35 hours of local content every single week, and great opportunity for you to stay especially connected here to our greater Lake Norman, Statesville region as well. But this is local news here. Birkdale Village. I mean, this is big. I mean, Birkdale Village is really from a real estate standpoint. I mean, it's one of the jewels up here at the lake. Been around now, I want to say, for more than 20 years that Birkdale Village has been with us, and has undergone a significant, I'll call it massive, transformation here in the last several years as ownership has changed, and approximately $20 million was invested here over the course of the last couple of years into an let me call it an upfit, refresh, upgrade, however the terminology that you'd like to use to talk about it in terms of paint and storefront, and certainly in terms of the folks who are tenants there. Significant amount of change that's happened here in the last couple of years. Well, a big announcement that the ownership again has changed. Now, the new owners came in, well, certainly at least part of them came in here about a little over a year ago, and now they got sold again to a massive group. Massive group, Hines Real Estate, HINES, privately held company, has come in, and they're massive. They own they own properties actually here in the greater Charlotte region as well, but all over the country. And so massive group, a lot of experience in the real estate space, specifically with retail, with office, with mixed use kinds of things. A tremendous amount of experience and a lot in their portfolio there. Bought again, so they're going to be the new owners. It's going to be interesting to see with them as the new owners, especially in light of the code changes that have come in place as far as what can be built in and around the Birkdale property. It's going to be interesting to see. Is that hotel going to be built now? Is that parking deck that has been talked about so much going to be built now? Are there going to be other retail, office, residential spaces there in and around where the current property is? Stay tuned. It's going to be very interesting to see. We're certainly going to bring it to you as it happens. But big news here in the local end of things, especially if you're in real estate or you're in the small business end of things. Certainly some pretty highlight kind of focus there. So we'll be watching to see what takes place. All right, let's keep going. We're going to talk about earnings. We talk about earnings a lot, and we do that intentionally because it's one of the easiest times during the course of a year where we're able to hear directly from company leadership for our publicly traded companies, find out what they're seeing, what of course happened in the previous quarter, but then perhaps most importantly when it comes to the investment aspect of things, what they expect happening in the go forward quarter and perhaps even beyond that. So I'm looking at one of the most notable ones out there in terms, let me say notable in terms of popularity. And or at least in terms of branding. I'll say that branding, name recognition, hard to get something if you're in the investment end of the universe that's more well-known right now, certainly in terms of personality, than Tesla. Tesla, publicly traded company. Tom, Sam, Larry, Alpha, got those a little bit jumbled together there. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the equity or the debt in Tesla. And of course, Tesla co-founded and now the CEO, Elon Musk. And I would call it a mixed quarter. I think that's probably the most even way to describe it. I mean, from a sales standpoint, raw sales, top line number, revenue aspect of things, record quarter in terms of sales. Now, several different reasons why that was probably the case, but record in terms of sales. However, the profit slipped, which meaning their margins got squeezed, which makes sense relative to how those sales increased. There's a big tax credit, which has gone away at this point, which has gone away. And so were some of those sales front-loaded in order to be able to take advantage of some of that credit? Was there perhaps even some discounting going on to be able to accelerate some of those sales? It seems like that could have been the case. And so sales-wise, again, top line revenue looking positive, profits getting squeezed in terms of the margins on the bottom line figure. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, Elon Musk, in typical fashion, very optimistic about what is yet ahead, and in terms of what he expects, not only for Tesla, but a lot of attention being given to robo-taxis, right? These driverless taxis. Man, I don't know about you. I'd be a little leery up front getting into a taxi where there's no driver. I'm sure I could probably get used to it, but boy, that would take a little bit of getting used to for somebody like me. But we'll see. Probably 10 years from now, 15 years from now, probably going to be the case for all taxis. Anyhow, appreciate so much you hanging with us here on Dollars and Cents. Going to take a moment to hear from our sponsors. Coming back.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, for the warm weather lovers, party sure seems to be over. Cooler fall air is locking in and hanging around for a while. Plenty of sunshine. For our Thursday, we're only warming into the low to mid 70s, and we'll drop back into the low 40s tonight. Some folks could even wake up Friday morning in the upper 30s. Saturday morning, too, and high temperatures getting cooler, only around 70 for our Friday, with upper 60s over the weekend. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Let's go leaf peeping. Crunching leaves, mountain trails, and roomy suites await at Meadowbrook Inn in Blowing Rock. Steps away from quaint shops and kid-friendly fun. Plus, you'll just love our indoor pool and hot breakfast. Book your family getaway now at meadowbrook-inn.com.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is having their Thirsty Thursdays tournament on October 23rd. Call 704-872-9990 for more information on tea times, dinner reservations, and club events. It's almost time for Halloween in Huntersville. Join us Sunday, October 26th at the Huntersville Athletic Park for an evening of family fun from 4 to 7 p.m. Admission, parking, and activities are all free. Halloween in Huntersville is presented by WSIC, Howard Hanna Allen Tate Real Estate, and ABS Kids. Monday, October 27th, is the Dino Open Golf Tournament at North Stone Country Club in Huntersville, presented by Little Smiles of North Carolina. Registration begins at 8:30 a.m. with a shotgun start at 10. Call 704-900-4747 to learn more about the Dino Open Golf Tournament presented by Little Smiles. On Halloween night, WSIC is bringing the Rocky Horror Picture Show to the Charles Mack Citizens Center in Mooresville. The VIP experience begins at 6 p.m. with showtime at 8. Tickets are on sale right now at WSICnews.com. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World Short Track Championships October 31st and November 1st. And then the World of Outlaws World Finals are November 5th through the 8th. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You made it. Second quarter of today's show, Blatant Football Reference. You know we talk about sports here, with some regularity. In various capacities, right? We got shows that got dedicated to sports. We talk about it during other shows. Certainly we talk about it here on Dollars and Cents. Before you say, what does that have to do with economics and finances? Have you taken a look? Have you taken a look at big-time college football? It's football season. We're going to talk about football. We also do when it's not football season. But especially we're going to talk about it right now. We're into big-time college football. We're into the NFL season, certainly. And this is one of those confluence times in the course of the calendar year where we've got all the big sports playing. You got hockey starting up. You got the NBA starting up. We still got baseball yet coming into the World Series here starting tomorrow as of the time of this live broadcast or as of the time of this podcast, if you happen to listen to the recording. And of course, we got football right in there. So we got all of it going on right now. It's tough to have a night where you don't have something of significance sport-wise going on right now, which makes it just fantastic for the sport end of things. But as we're talking about sports, we're talking about NFL, we absolutely, as we do every week, have to talk about our Carolina Panthers. And in doing so, I am going to jump up and down on the top of the proverbial bandwagon and say 3 in a row.
There you go.
Producer CJ, you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
3 in a row right now. 3 wins in a row for our Carolina Panthers. I can't imagine, except for the most ardent of our Panthers fans, that anybody would have, one, said, A, we'd have a winning record 7 games into the season.
Right.
Or 2, that we'd be on a 3-game winning streak.
I don't think anyone would have said that
I don't
either.
think so. If you're out there, call in 844-STUDIO-4. I want to hear from you. No, I do. And I want you to prove it to me. You got to have a timestamp or something. You can't just say, well, in July I said the Panthers were going to do what? No. No, I've got to have something kind of like when, now this is really showing my age, when we used to take pictures and you're holding up a newspaper, right? Had the date on it. That's from the 1800s. No, not the 1800s. It wasn't that long ago that we had to do that to prove the date, but you got to prove it somehow. that you were on board the proverbial bandwagon, but I am jumping on the roof
There you go.
of the proverbial bandwagon. We got Buffalo this week,
Yeah.
and I'm not, I'm a straight shooter. Buffalo's got a great team.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for
It's
sure.
it's gonna be a tough game, but I'll tell you what, we're riding high right now. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Let's shock the league. Let's come out and just play guns blazing here. Now we got to have to play. We got to play with Dalton this week because we got Bryce Young. He's got that high ankle sprain, so he's got to be in some recuperation this week. So we got to bring in that redheaded bomber to come in.
Yep.
And he's got a cannon. Let's let that thing loose and let's go after him and let's beat those Buffalo Bills this week, Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
We're pulling for you. And by the way, if you want to listen to the game right here on WSIC on Sundays, we're going to broadcast it. Get on here, listen to the game. Let's pull for those Panthers to beat those Buffalo Bills this week. So, all right, we got to talk about that kind of stuff, right? And by the way, just to throw in the money aspect of things, Charlotte Business Journal. They do this with some regularity. They are often looking at the compensation structures, especially of public employees. When I say public, I'm talking about folks who are working for nonprofit hospitals, who are government level employees, and who work for our public institutions here. Many institutions. I'm speaking specifically in this instance about our educational institutions. They published here just recently, Charlotte Business Journal, about the top incomes of some of our folks who are employees of our public universities. And in doing so, you have to remember that some of the numbers that I'm going to be saying here, these are probably not the full compensation numbers. I got to talk about that. I'm not saying this in a positive or a negative light. I'm not getting into that. That's for debate, other kinds of discussions, and other kinds of shows. You're welcome to have your positive and negative thoughts about that. I'm not looking at this is just fact that we're talking about here. And looking at the compensation, these are just what is paid. These dollar figures, rather, are just what are paid through the university. A lot of these folks got other side contracts, private deals, alumni associations who are adding to the compensation structures for a lot of these folks. The top ones, as you can probably guess, going to be sports coaches, no doubt about it. Number one in the state in terms of the number of dollars moving through the public institution for compensation, NC State football coach. 3.2 million, 3.2 million in there. And again, that's probably not the top amount. And before I hear all the Chapel Hill folks saying, yeah, look at budget. Now hold on. Y'all got a whole bunch of folks in the top 10 there. Don't get too excited about that, including the assistant football coach, who, at least in terms of the money that's moving through the institution, the assistant football coach at Chapel Hill is making more than the head football coach. Now you're saying, well, how does that happen? Well, they both happen to share the same last name. And so the assistant football coach getting paid through Chapel Hill with the last name of Belichick, getting $1.3 million paid through the institution. Belichick getting paid $1 million, which I'm not saying is by any means chicken feed, but probably there are some other kinds of compensation structures that are associated in addition to that amount. But in terms of the amount that's getting paid through the institution itself, that's where they are. And there are a whole bunch of others as well. I'm not going to go down through the list, but I'm saying it to say, again, not talking positive or negative, not debating whether they should or shouldn't be that, none of that. What I'm talking about is that's a lot of money. And that absolutely has huge financial implications, not only for those institutions, but also for the players involved and for the type of facilities that they have. And what I hope for all of them is notable economic impact, not only to the institution itself, but hopefully to the community and region at large. Certainly, when we're talking about our professional sports entities, there's always conversation about that, about what kind of economic impact they indeed do have on our region. Somewhat debatable, I think, because you're talking about what sometimes are described as soft dollar revenues or soft dollar impacts from that, because you can't say necessarily that because somebody's staying at a Holiday Inn that they're doing that because they're going to the football game. You can extrapolate a little bit, but you can't do that with any certainty. So sometimes not called direct costs, but more incidental or incidental kinds of revenues, that may be coming up as a part of that. No doubt about the impact aspect of things, but how much of it? It's argumentative. And so there's actually been a significant amount of that discussion as what's happening with regards to the Bank of America football stadium, the Panthers' home stadium, and a hundreds of millions of dollars literally going to be done in upgrades. Significant amount of participation, very likely, not done yet, very likely going to come from the city of Charlotte, county of Mecklenburg, in being a participant in that effort, in exchange for a promise that the Panthers will stay here in Charlotte for a significant period of time. That deal's not done yet, so I'm not going to go into details on the numbers. I'm just talking about a lot of dollars involved, and a significant part of the argument on the proponent side of that kind of agreement says that there is a significant amount of financial and economic impact by having the Charlotte Panthers here. Indeed, excuse me, Carolina Panthers. See, I slipped up there. I do that periodically when I'm thinking about them. The Carolina Panthers continuing to be based here in Charlotte. So we'll continue to watch it. It's argumentative. Like I said, there are pretty heated kinds of opinions on both sides of that ledger. No pun intended. But it is an important thing to think about. It's an important thing about which to be aware. Certainly, if for no other reason, because of the number of dollars involved. So there is a huge number of dollars, especially when we're talking about our professional teams, about what it means to have a professional team and what it means to support a professional team, and how much revenue do they actually, again, produce in soft dollar revenues or incidental kind of revenues because they happen to be located close by. So big deal. We're going to be watching it more. But beyond all of that, still coming back to it, 3-game winning streak. That's what matters. That's what I'm talking about. Buffalo Bills this weekend. Make sure you tune in here to WSIC to listen to the game. If you can't watch it on television, go Panthers. All right, let's keep going here. We got a lot of stuff on the discussion end of things. I'm chuckling because I do have to talk about this one. And I have it on a long list of discussion points here on my prep notes. But I got to bring it up. I've had a lot of let me say a lot of questions. I can't say I've had a lot of conversations about it. A lot of questions about this particular stock, this particular company. And I'm going to tell you that what we're going to talk about here doesn't have a whole lot to do with the stock, or maybe it does, depending upon your particular thought process on it. I'll just put it out there. Beyond Meat. Yeah, Beyond Meat. Basically, the non-burger burger, meaning we're talking about a burger that looks like a burger, and some would say tastes like a burger, but is not actually ground beef or any kind of other ground meat product. It is a vegetable / alternative ingredient kind of product. Publicly traded company, ticker symbol Bravo Yellow, Nancy David, BYND. Not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity. And by the way, if you're looking at the equity side of things, oh my, not been a good stock to hold. I mean, it really has. I mean, before a couple of days ago, over 99% off of its high. I mean, it was trading in what we sometimes call penny stock category, meaning that it was below $1 a share. And so when we're looking at it from an investment standpoint, again, sometimes called penny stocks, it was trading or was in risk of being traded on the pink sheets, which again is now more of a generic term because those pink sheets don't exist anymore, but used to in terms of companies that weren't even listed on an exchange. Beyond Meat is, though, but it was pink sheet style stock. I mean, the stock went up this week over 1,000%. 1,000%. You say, well, shoot, why didn't you tell me about this a couple of weeks ago? Well, I'm not your guy when it comes to that kind of thing. I'm not going to be the one who's certainly going to be able to predict that, and certainly not going to be the one who recommends it to you. But why did it do that? Well, there's a whole collection of phenomena out there in the trading universe right now. We're going to talk about this a little bit in the third quarter of today's show as well. But it's important that you're aware of it if you're not. You don't have to be a participant in it to be aware of it, but it's important that you're aware that, and this has been going on for a long time. This just didn't come around here in the last couple of years like some folks think. This was actually the whole pump and dump scheme aspect where things get driven up in crazy increments price-wise in a very short period of time, and then sometimes come crashing back down. Beyond Meat hasn't crashed back down completely yet. It's maybe on their way, down 20% today in terms of the pricing. We'll take a look at it. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk what it means to be in that hot stock category, sometimes meme stock category. Coming back here in just a moment.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, for the warm weather lovers, the party sure seems to be over. Cooler fall air is locking in and hanging around for a while. Plenty of sunshine. For our Thursday, we're only warming into the low to mid 70s, and we'll drop back into the low 40s tonight. Some folks could even wake up on Friday morning in the upper 30s. Saturday morning, too. And high temperatures getting cooler, only around 70 for our Friday, with upper 60s over the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 13th through 23rd at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Are you sick of running out of hot water? Whether it's in the middle of a shower or doing dishes, cold water's never fun. Say goodbye to those surprises with a Rinnai tankless water heater from GMV Energy. This energy-efficient propane-powered solution heats water instantly, so you'll never run out again. Plus, it saves money and frees up space. Propane models start at just $295 after rebates. Visit any G&B Energy location or gbenergy.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics and the latest styles from Harriet, Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
If you need home medical equipment, call Lowry Drug in Statesville. We have everything you need in stock, including portable oxygen concentrators, CPAPs, masks, lift chairs, wheelchairs, scooters, hospital beds, supplies, and anything else you need. Get it when you need it. Check out LowryDrug.com or call 704-873-2247. Lowry Drug, your hometown source since 1959, across from Iredell Memorial Hospital. We are worth the drive. Come see us.
Inspire your team and gallop to greatness. Our horses at Willow Equine are outstanding at working with people on leadership and team building skills, perfect for corporate retreats. Visit willowequine.com as you gallop to greatness.
'Tis the season. Bloom large at Drum Landscape Supply, your one-stop shop for everything you need this spring. Don't waste time running from store to store. Flowers, trees, mulch, and more. They've got you covered. Plus, they deliver. Visit drumlandscapesupply.com today.
Men over 45, do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Want to learn about alternatives to BPH medication and major surgery? How? Talk to a doctor about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is the #1 chosen minimally invasive BPH procedure in the U.S. It uses a proven approach to treating enlarged prostate symptoms that lifts and holds the enlarged prostate tissue out of the way, so it no longer blocks the urethra. No heating, cutting, removal, or destruction of prostate tissue is required. Find rapid symptom relief while preserving sexual function. Call 1-800-858-7070. 1-800-858-7070. That's 1-800-858-7070. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort while urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention.
Ready to take control of your weight with real medical support? At Renew Specialty Group, we offer semaglutide, tirzepatide, and now retatrutide with complimentary consultations, personalized plans, and real results. Visit RenewHealthWellnessNC.com. Your transformation starts here.
Don't miss a thing. Download the WSIC News app today. WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Shares of large tech companies have been trading higher today, and investors are also celebrating after the White House said President Trump and China's leader Xi will meet next Thursday on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea. It'll be the first face-to-face for the leaders since President Trump returned to power in January, and comes as a trade truce between Washington and China is set to expire November 10. Crude oil futures surging today after the Trump administration slapped new sanctions on Russian oil companies. Separately, the Trump administration opening the entire coastal plain of Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to oil and gas leasing, reversing a Biden administration decision. And Amazon Prime Video says it'll make NFL Black Friday game available to stream for free worldwide. It's the first time an NFL game on Prime Video will be available to stream to non-subscribers. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You made it. Second half of today's show, Football Reference. And as we were going to break there, I was talking about it, and I got to use the term. It's out there. It's on the internet. It's everywhere in my end of the universe. So if you're looking at these kinds of things, meme stocks, M-E-M-E stocks, about them, meaning that, they're moving in significant directions, either positively or negatively, not because of any sort of, let's call it tactical or fundamental kinds of reasons, but primarily because they're getting hyped up from one end of the universe, trading universe, or another. Certainly that's been true for Beyond Meat here recently. Now, there are some folks, as they were asking me the question, well, they made this deal with Walmart. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with that. I looked at that a little bit in terms of the deal with Walmart. There are a lot of contingencies inside of there where it may not end up being a particularly good deal for Beyond Meat. So does that mean that the stock should have gone up 1,000% here over the last several days? Because, literally it happened within a week. Within 4 days, the stock price went up. Now, you think, okay, my gosh, how expensive is the stock? Well, when I told you it was down below $1, I wasn't making that up. It really was below $1. And so when we're talking about that kind of appreciation, still was less than $10 a share at that point. But I'm saying that to say those kinds of things are out there, and folks say, well, this is the meme stock era. Well, I appreciate that, except these kinds of, we used to call them 100 years ago. It might be 100 years ago that they were boiler room types of stocks. And when I say boiler room, that's because that used to be that there would be rooms full usually of young brokers who would dial for dollars. They would be calling as many folks as they could to try to sell certain stocks, not because they believed in them or because it was a good recommendation, but because they were trying to get that stock price up, either because they individually or because their business corporately owned that stock, and so they were trying to drive that price up so that they could dump the shares and that they could make a big profit. Now, of course, that is patently, fundamentally, structurally illegal. There is nothing that is appropriate about that. But it happened, and in some ways, it still does happen. Now, if you're in a space where you're not making a direct recommendation to an individual, and this is where it gets really murky, cloudy, muddy, whatever kind of particular metaphor you want to use with it, if you're not making a direct recommendation to an individual, and you're saying that you're not making a recommendation to an individual or group of people in any way, there's a gray area where you can, quote, get away with saying that everybody should buy this stock or implying that everybody should buy this stock. So that's what's happening here with Beyond Meat. And again, it has happened here a number of times over the last several years with different stocks, right? GameStop was the one that was very popular there for a while in terms of being the pump and dump, meaning pump up the price, dump the shares kind of thing. That was out there for a while. Even Krispy Kreme donuts was in on it as well. Doorstop was in it. Was it even Kohl's, the retailer, was in on it as far as, again, these online recommendations that were just adhered to by a significant portion of, or a significant number, not portion, excuse me, significant number of online traders who traded. May have not been a lot of shares for each individual, but you put enough of those small trades together, you get a lot of shares that are being traded. You can absolutely alter demand, especially on stocks which are A, lower in price, B, perhaps a little bit more thinly traded in terms of the number of shares that are being moved inside of them. So that's what happened with Beyond Meat. So I'm saying all that, say, A, be aware of it, and then B, be careful. Be careful. Be careful from whom you get your advice. Be careful about the reasons that you're buying and selling stocks. The whole get-rich-quick idea, folks, it's dangerous at best, and it is moronic at worst. It truly is. Now, does that mean that there isn't somebody out there who bought Beyond Meat last week and watched whatever investment they had in it go up by 1,000%? No, I'm sure there's somebody that is. I don't know who it is. I mean, 844-STUDIO-4, call in. We'll talk to you about that experience. Of course, you got to verify it. Don't just tell me that you did. I mean, it's kind of like I was saying with the newspaper and the photo from 100 years ago that we used to do to verify that you were actually at a certain place at a certain date. You got to be able to validate it for us. We're not just going to talk to you just because you say that you were the one or two that did that kind of thing. But certainly, it's out there that somebody did that and was able to reap the benefit in significant ways from it. However, for the rest of us masses, that's probably not a high probability way of being able to grow your portfolio. So be very careful about that kind of thing. It's very easy to get caught up in that. It's very easy to get drawn into the fervor of the moment, especially as you see it going up, because of course we think in straight lines. When it comes to the market, we do. Things are going up. We think it's going to continue to go up until it doesn't. Then when it goes down, we think it's always going to go down, and we do. We act that way constantly and consistently over time. It's an amazing kind of market dynamic, but it's absolutely out there. So be careful. That's why I'm bringing that up. It's really something just to keep in mind, and certainly with regards to how you manage your portfolio, be very cautious with that kind of thing, at least insofar as your expectations are concerned. All right, going to keep going here. This is actually with some merger and acquisition activity. It's been going on for some time. We've talked about it a couple of times here on Dollars and Cents, but it has heated up, taken a different direction, depends upon your point of view, here certainly over the last week or so. And I'm looking at you, Paramount, and I'm looking at you, Warner Brothers Discovery. These are media companies, primarily online sorts of television, movie-style companies that are out there. Paramount making now a third offer. That's why we talked about them previously. They made two previous offers to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. So Paramount, publicly traded company, ticker symbol Paul Sam Kelly Yellow, PSKY, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity. And then Warner Brothers Discovery, which also publicly traded, is William Bravo David, WBD, not a recommendation, again, to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity on that end of things. And so after the third offer was made from Paramount, Warner Brothers came out very publicly and said, yeah, we're putting ourselves out to bid. and the implication being that they had some side conversation somewhere. I don't think they named anyone specifically, although I've heard two big names that are sitting out there, Netflix and Comcast. Now, these are rumors by and large at this point, although neither Netflix nor Comcast has denied them at this point. Netflix, publicly traded, Nancy Frank Larry X-Ray, NFLX, and Comcast on the A-share side of things for Comcast, Charlie Michael, Charlie Sam Alpha, CMCSA, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity for either of those companies either, but are supposedly in the mix for providing another bid, a competing bid for Warner Brothers Discovery here. Very interesting. So let's step back a few moments. I just gave you the granular there in terms of the acquisition activity, or at least the attempted acquisition activity that's sitting out there. But let's step back and think about what this means for the larger consumption of media aspect of things. We've talked about this a lot on Dollars and Cents, and it is very true that, and not just because I'm saying it, not just because we're saying it here on Dollars and Cents, but it absolutely is true that the dynamic of how we consume media, and then most importantly for these companies, that for which we will pay and how much we will pay for the consumption of media is paramount. It absolutely is. And it has taken on a number of different formats here. The easiest ones to look at, of course, are when you're looking at how we consume media through our handheld devices now, or our iPads. So we got streaming services instead of the more traditional antenna or traditional cable services, with which certainly Comcast has been an instrumental part. But Netflix completely all streaming, right? It's all a streaming service. No broadcast aspect of things outside of their foray into some live events, which they have done here recently as well. But very interesting. A lot of consolidation, a lot of attempts at consolidation inside of this industry. Huge premiums being paid for content and for streaming rights. I mean, you don't have to believe me. Take a look at anybody who's streaming NFL football right now. Holy smokes, it's billions with a B. If you want to get on the mix of things, by the way, Thursday Night NFL on Amazon. Interesting. Here tonight, another streaming service. It's a changing dynamic, folks. Hard to keep pace with it. We're going to try here at Dollars and Cents. But first, going to hear from our sponsors back in a moment on WSIC.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, for the warm weather lovers, the party sure seems to be over. Cooler fall air is locking in and hanging around for a while. Plenty of sunshine. For our Thursday, we're only warming into the low to mid 70s, and we'll drop back into the low 40s tonight. Some folks could even wake up on Friday morning in the upper 30s. Saturday morning, too, and high temperatures getting cooler, only around 70 for our Friday, with upper 60s over the weekend. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville is having their Thirsty Thursdays tournament on October 23rd. Call 704-872-9990 for more information on tee times, dinner reservations, and club events. It's almost time for Halloween in Huntersville. Join us Sunday, October 26th at the Huntersville Athletic Park for an evening of family fun from 4 to 7 p.m. Admission, parking, and activities are all free. Halloween in Huntersville is presented by WSIC, Howard Hanna Allen Tate Real Estate, and ABS Kids. Monday, October 27th is the Dino Open Golf Tournament at North Stone Country Club in Huntersville, presented by Little Smiles of North Carolina. Registration begins at 8:30 a.m. with a shotgun start at 10. Call 704-900-4747 to learn more about the Dino Open Golf Tournament presented by Little Smiles. On Halloween night, WSIC is bringing the Rocky Horror Picture Show to the Charles Mack Citizens Center in Mooresville. The VIP experience begins at 6 p.m. with showtime at 8. Tickets are on sale right now at WSICnews.com. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World Short Track Championships October 31st and November 1st. And then the World of Outlaws World Finals are November 5th through the 8th. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays now through November 23rd. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You made it. Fourth quarter of today's show. My goodness, if you're a 9-to-5er, you can see the finish line at this point. Not there yet. Sprint through the tape. But you got 11 minutes, 46 seconds until we get there. And I appreciate you spending that time here with us as we're talking on all things economic and financial. We were talking there right before the break, and I spent a lot of time on it, and it's because I got a number of questions from many of you about, you know, the meme stock end of things and Beyond Meat this week. And like I said before that, it was Krispy Kreme or GameStop or Kohl's or Doors. Just be careful. Be careful with that kind of stuff sitting out there. You just want to make sure that you're making your decisions for the right reasons coming to that kind of thing. So I just wanted to reemphasize that before we get on with the fourth quarter here. Now, you also know that in addition to talking about finance and football, we like to talk about that other word that starts with the letter F. Now, don't get carried away. I don't want to hear anybody, making any reports on us here. I'm talking food, right? We like to talk food on here, mostly because we're hungry by this time of the day, but also because we just like to talk about it as well, especially when companies come out with something strange, unusual. And this, what I'm going to talk about next, you may not think it's strange or unusual. You may say, well, that actually makes perfect sense to me. And that'll be fine as well. But I'm looking at you, Jimmy John's. Now, Jimmy John's, owned by a group called Inspire Brands. They were acquired 5 or 6 years ago at this point. Private company, by the way, that Inspire Brands is. And a number of quick serve restaurants under their umbrella. They got Arby's, they got Buffalo Wild Wings, they got Sonic, they got Dunkin' Donuts. They have Baskin Robbins on the retail side of things, meaning insofar as the ice cream shops are concerned, that Inspire Brands owns. Inspire bought it. I would say they bought a controlling interest from Rourke Capital. You've heard us talk about Rourke Capital a number of times because Rourke owns a number, huge investments in the QSR end of things, quick serve restaurant end of things. But Jimmy John's, again, very, very well known, very popular sandwich restaurant and quick serve restaurant, I should say. Now, they came out with this one, and I've talked about this, I'll call it a phenomenon. I guess I can call it a phenomenon. Yeah, I'll call it that. The microphone's in front of me. I'll say it's a phenomenon for means of today's discussion. They have picked up on, let me call it the fervor that there is for things which are pickle related and pickle flavored. Now you're saying, you seriously talking pickles, like the things that come in a brine in a jar? Yes, I am absolutely talking about that. I'm talking about a Vlasic. I'm talking about local. I'm talking Mount Olive pickles. Absolutely, I'm talking about that. But now Jimmy John's has announced.
Yep.
Are you familiar with this, producer CJ?
Yeah, it's my fiance's favorite sandwich when it comes back from there.
No kidding, from Jimmy John's. So
John's.
from all the options out there,
The Pickle Witch, that's her favorite.
Are you kidding? So you know exactly. I
Yep.
didn't even tee him up on this,
Oh,
folks.
yeah.
The Pickle Witch.
Yep.
You're familiar with this?
Yeah.
So, folks, in case you don't know what this is, because this was news to me, but obviously producer CJ and his fiance are already very familiar with it.
Yeah.
That it basically, without going into detail, they replace the bread
with a giant pickle.
with a hollowed out pickle.
Yeah.
I mean that you got to love your pickles if you're doing that. I mean, because you're committed at that point.
I can't eat it. It's too much pickle, but she loves it.
And by the way, if that's not enough pickle, I mean, I'm sure your fiance knows about this, but it can come with a side of pickle chips,
Yeah.
so which are potato chips flavored with pickle
Yep.
flavoring, right? And then if you need something maybe to dip those chips that are flavored like pickles, you can get their pickle dipping sauce.
Yeah, that's too much pickle for
Wow.
me.
I mean, you are. I mean, if you're going that far,
You're committed.
844 Studio 4, call in. I mean, if you are saying that is what my meal should look like with a Pickle Witch, pickle flavored potato chips with a pickle dipping sauce, I mean, that's like you said, you're committed at that point.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I was just astonished to see that. I mean, again, I know because we've talked about pickle flavored ice cream, we've talked about pickle flavored cookies on here, and now Jimmy John's coming out saying, yeah, everybody loves pickles. We're going to come out with the Pickle Witch.
And I think you can get like any sandwich they have
Isn't that
there
crazy?
on it. Like
That's amazing.
yeah, like you can get absolutely anything, which is crazy.
That is. I mean, and they obviously believe that there's a market for it. I mean, this isn't just some crazy guy middle of the night going, wouldn't it be great if we would just replace
Well,
the
I
bread with
remember
pickles?
they did it like a couple years, maybe it was like
Oh,
a
did
year
they
or two
really?
ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
so this is not the first time even.
No, like they've done it like
Oh.
they did it like a year or two ago, and it
Okay.
was here for like 6 months, and then
Interesting.
like I think they said like it wasn't financially stable or
Oh,
something.
okay. All right.
And then they finally just announced
And
it's
they brought
coming
it back.
back. Yeah.
Well, they must think it's stable now. I
Yeah.
mean, if they're bringing it back now, they must
Yeah.
think there is a rejuvenated market out there
Yeah.
for all the Pickle Witch.
Yeah.
The pickle. I mean, so go for it, Jimmy John's. I mean, that would be one I would try it,
Yeah.
right? Because I'll try just about anything when it comes to food,
Yeah.
just to make sure I'm not missing out on anything wonderful. But that's a lot. I like pickles, but more as a garnish than let's say as a main course.
Yeah, like I can deal with them on like a hamburger, but like
Correct.
the whole like
But the whole thing,
Yeah.
where that's the focus, like I said, like the main course, that's a lot.
Mhm.
That's a lot. But not saying that it isn't good for you. So make sure if
Yeah.
you like that, you check out Jimmy John sometime soon. All right. Speaking of burgers, great segue. Thank you, producer CJ, for that. I come across these things all the time, and it's usually because I'm hungry and I'm looking for things that are food related.
Yep.
Perhaps or they actually come across my timeline as well on the formerly known as Twitter, now known as X end of things. All these surveys
Mhm.
from various sources that I have never heard before, talking about the best fill in the blank in the world or best fill in the blank in the country or the state or anything
Mhm.
like that. Came across this one, and I was skeptical right away.
Yeah.
I was skeptical right away because this particular survey was titled "The Best Hamburger in the World."
Okay.
Now, again, I was skeptical right away because I'm like, you have to try not just tens of thousands, not just hundreds of thousands, but you gotta try. You gotta be in the 7 digits. I mean, if you're really gonna say, if you're gonna take an accurate sampling
Yeah.
of the number of hamburger possibilities out there, to be able to say these are the best 25 in the world, you can't just go out there and try 10.
Yeah.
No, you really can't. I mean, and then to say in the world, you got to travel a lot too.
Yeah. I would say like my dad's kind of a burger connoisseur.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
And he actually told me they went to Hawaii like years ago, and
Yeah.
he said it was the best burger he's ever had.
See?
It was like this thick.
Oh my gosh.
And it
okay.
had
It looks
like
more like meatloaf
yeah,
with that kind of size.
and it had bacon,
Mhm.
and it had cheese in the
You have me.
hamburger.
Oh, see, now you're talking about
And
music.
it had like lettuce, tomato, pickles. Like
Oh,
it had everything.
Play
on
the
it.
theme music. I'm
Yeah,
ready. Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds good to me. That's
Yeah.
the reason to go to Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, I know gorgeous islands, but
Yeah,
Pacific.
going for the food.
Yeah, but that sounds like a terrific
Yeah.
reason to go.
Yeah.
There on that end of things. So again, I was looking at this. The group that did the survey called Uppercut Concepts. Never heard of them. Out of London, doesn't mean they're not important. Just something I'd never heard of. And again, they had a top 25 list. I've never heard of any of these entities. Doesn't
Yeah.
make them good or bad, right or wrong. But here's where I really, let me say, furrowed my brow whenever I was looking at the list quickly. The top one in the United States, number 13 on that list, which means that there were 12 ahead of the top one in the U.S. from
Really?
around the world. Now, again, I'm saying that not to say that those other 12 places around the world outside of the U.S. don't have great hamburgers. Not saying that at all.
Right.
But very skeptical. Very
Yeah.
skeptical. Especially when I got Cookout right down the street here.
Right.
I mean, let me tell you, I like some Cookout
Yeah.
hamburgers.
Have they tried Cookout?
I do
before
not think so.
making that
I did not
list?
see them on the list, which automatically, again, skeptical.
Right.
Because I can go right down to Cookout there, and I can have Cookout hamburgers with an amazing milkshake,
Yep.
one of about 40 different flavors that I can choose from there, with a side of fried mozzarella.
Yeah.
And or a corn dog.
Yeah.
And I'm in for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really need to go anywhere after that.
Nope.
I don't care where you've been. I don't care if you've been to Shanghai and you've had some Wagyu kind of whatever. I mean, I'm sure it's good.
Right.
But just give me the Cookout. So anyhow, I was again a little skeptical about that, but I like to bring it up. The qualifications on it, wasn't a real big fan either. I mean, it seemed like they were going for more the gourmet aspect of things.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking. I'm looking for just that taste experience. So I'm looking to Cookout. Look at Five Guys. Five Guys, I got them down the street as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of, I mean, that, oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. And I mean, and I am the kind of guy, and I know this is not everybody's, I don't mind that it's messy.
Yeah.
I don't
neither
mind
do
it's
I.
on my hands, on my arm, or on my mouth. I mean, I don't, it's not particularly pleasant for maybe the company with which I'm, maybe eating
Yeah.
at that time, but that actually makes it better in,
Right.
in my end of the world.
Right.
So thought that was kind of a bit interesting. All right, one more food item here. I know we're taking up the fourth quarter. I've been telling you to be careful in the market here for 3 quarters, so I'm taking a little time anecdotally to talk about food here. 5 best grocery store bakeries. I'm definitely something in my timeline said that I really wanted to see surveys
Right.
this week. I must have been talking out loud or something. 5 best grocery store bakeries. So bakeries in a grocery store.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And again, very unscientific method here.
Right.
So, but I thought it was kind of interesting. 4 of them, very familiar with them. The number one, Costco.
Really?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are a lot of folks who are listening who are really big fans of Costco for all kinds of things. So Costco,
Yeah.
by the way, Charlie, Oscar, Sam, Tom, publicly traded company, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity there, but very interesting. And they talked about the variety of things that you
Okay.
can buy in the Costco bakery, basically saying they got hundreds of different options there.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I'm in for it. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm good for donuts and for cake
Right.
and for cookies. I mean, especially after I have, say, a Cookout hamburger.
Right.
For example, that's the closer. Give me that in a milkshake, and you can just send me to bed. I'll be fine after that. Sam's Club, interesting. Again, big store kind of concept.
Yeah.
Sam's Club in the top 5 there as well. By the way, part of Walmart. William Mary Terry is a publicly traded company, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold there. The other one that was kind of interesting to me, Whole Foods.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought like Publix.
That's exactly where I was going. I thought there was going to be Publix,
Yeah.
or you get Kroger, which owns Harris Teeter here
Right.
locally. I thought you'd get that as well. Not according to this very,
Wow.
very unscientific poll.
Yeah.
So for what's that's worth. So basically, we told you where to go find a hamburger. We told you if you like pickles, we told you where to go for that, and we told you if you want to get a cookie or a piece of cake or a donut, where you can go for that to get the quote best ones according to unnamed sources in the most unscientific way. All right, thank you for your indulgence on those anecdotal kinds of things. There, we got to balance out the market data when we're talking about that kind of stuff. We don't want to put you to sleep. We got to bring up stuff. That's why we talk about football and food and finance here on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial. I appreciate so much you hanging with us here, folks. Tune in with us next week. Thursdays of